The first snow of winter had just begun to fall when Evelyn spotted him again, sitting silently outside the glass window of Marlowe's diner, hunched against the biting wind, with a threadbare coat wrapped tight around his thin frame. His name was Thomas, though Evelyn only knew that much because one night she had offered him a warm meal and he'd whispered a soft thank you, along with his name. That was 3 years ago. Every night since then, Evelyn, a waitress at Marlowe's for over a decade, would quietly wrap up a plate of leftovers, something warm, nourishing, and slip it into a paper bag. When the shift ended and the other staff had gone home, she would pretend to take out the trash, walk by Thomas, and gently set the bag beside him without a word. Their eyes would meet briefly, just long enough to say what words could not. He never asked for more, and she never made him feel like less. To the townspeople of Halton Springs, Thomas was a fixture, always there, never in the way. Some ignored him. Others pitied him. But Evelyn saw something different. His eyes, though weary, held a flicker of something unbroken. She often wondered what life he had led before fate had brought him to that cold sidewalk. Then, one night, just as December cast its longest shadows, Thomas vanished. His usual spot outside the diner remained empty. At first, Evelyn assumed he'd taken shelter somewhere else, but days turned into weeks, and weeks into months. Winter passed. Then spring. The next winter arrived, and still nothing. Years drifted by. Evelyn aged, her hair silvering, her back bending just slightly. She still worked at Marlowe's, still wrapped meals for the occasional soul in need, but something had gone quiet in her heart since Thomas disappeared. She never told anyone about their nightly exchanges, it wasn't for show, and she never wanted thanks. Then, one golden September afternoon, the diner was unusually full. The annual town harvest fair had drawn crowds from nearby counties. Evelyn, now working fewer shifts, had come in to help with the rush. As she wiped down a counter, the bell above the door chimed. She looked up and froze. There, standing tall in a tailored navy suit, with broad shoulders and a clean shave, was a man she almost didn't recognize. But the eyes, those eyes, were the same. "Miss Evelyn?" he asked, his voice steadier now, stronger. Her heart thudded. "Thomas?" He smiled. "Yes, ma'am. It's me." She blinked, stepping out from behind the counter. He looked like a man reborn. Healthy, confident, carrying himself with a calm purpose. Patrons turned to look as he crossed the room and embraced her. "I didn't know if you'd still be here," he said softly. You're okay," Evelyn whispered, tears welling in her eyes. "Where did you go?" Thomas sat her down and told his story. The night he disappeared, he had nearly died from exposure. A volunteer with a traveling shelter found him and took him to a facility in a neighboring state. He got clean. He got help. It wasn't easy, there were relapses, doubts, nights he wanted to give up. But each time he thought of quitting, he remembered her. The woman who, without ever asking anything in return, gave him kindness when he had nothing. "Your meals," he said, "they weren't just food. They reminded me I mattered. That someone saw me. That I was still human." He pulled an envelope from his coat and handed it to her. Inside was a letter and a check. "I've started a foundation," he said. "To help people like I was. I've named it after you, Evelyn's Table. It funds meals, shelter, and job training. The first program opened last month." She gasped, the tears finally falling. Word spread quickly. That week, the local paper ran a story about the reunion, the diner, and the foundation. Donations poured in from across the state. Interviews followed. Evelyn, ever humble, only said, "I did what anyone should do. Kindness costs nothing." The town was moved. More people began to notice those on the margins. A small community garden was repurposed to serve the food pantry. The high school students started volunteering. The change was quiet but profound. And every year on the anniversary of that autumn day, Thomas returned to Marlowe's, now with staff from the foundation, to share a meal. Evelyn's Table had expanded to 5 states. Thousands had been helped. And still, to Thomas, the truest act of generosity would always be that quiet, cold night when a weary man received a hot meal and a silent affirmation that he was not forgotten. Sometimes, the smallest acts of kindness ripple far beyond what we can see. And sometimes, a silent gift left outside a diner changes the world.